In the events industry, we throw around the word activation all of the time. But last year when I designed 11 emotive vignettes for the Denver Zoo lights, people kept calling them activations. And they were not activations. They were something entirely different. If you confuse the two, you design the wrong experience for the wrong objective. And that's not a creative mistake, it's a strategic mistake. Most planners use that word activation as a catch-all term. If it has a footprint, if guests are walking into it, if photos are taken, it gets labeled as an activation. But in experiential strategy, language actually does matter because tools serve different purposes. So today, I want to separate these two tools in your experiential toolkit. And it is the emotive vignette from the activation. They are not interchangeable. An emotive vignette is designed as an emotional micro-environment. It's not about the participation. It's about the feeling. For example, I designed a panther throne installation for the Denver Zoo lights. The intention was simple. When a guest sat in the throne, I wanted them to feel powerful. Everything about it was engineered around that emotional outcome. The lighting, the scale, the texture, the placement. Emotive vignettes have three things in common. They're immersive, they are sensory, and they are intentional. They're engineered to trigger a specific emotion, an intention that you designed beforehand. So think about things like a softly lit reflection wall at a healthcare summit where attendees write who they serve, or a founder story installation layered with audio and lighting, a gratitude lounge at a leadership retreat, a brand timeline hallway that walks guests through struggle to success. And if you notice something, none of those require action behind just their presence being there. They require attention. They require absorption. They create pause. The goal is emotional imprint. A vignette says, this is who we are, and then the guests feel it. An activation is very different. An activation is designed to get participation from the guest. It's interactive. It requires doing. It often produces measurable output. An activation is engineered to drive engagement behavior. So think about a product demo or some gamification leaderboard, a user-generated content station, a hands-on sampling station, or a digital badge earning experience. The goal is participation and action. An activation says, do this, and the guest acts. So here's the simplest way that you can remember it. A vignette equals feel, and an activation equals do. A vignette is about internal emotion, and an activation is about external behavior. Both matter, but they serve very different strategic purposes. So if your goal is brand trust and you design a competitive activation, you may create noise instead of connection. If your goal is product trial and you design a quiet reflection vignette, you may get beautiful photos and zero pipeline. Strategy is what determines this tool, not trends, not aesthetics, not what is going to look better in the space, not what other brands are doing. So when to use a vignette? You want to use a vignette when you need identity reinforcement, brand meaning, trust building, emotional anchoring, cultural alignment, memory creation. They are especially powerful when core emotion is something like belonging, pride, inspiration, nostalgia, gratitude, or purpose. And they're great at leadership summits, nonprofit galas, change initiatives, or brand positioning launches. If your organization is trying to restore trust or shift culture or reconnect people, you don't need a louder activation. You need intentional emotion design, and that's a vignette. So when you want to use an activation is when you need measurable engagement, data capture, product demonstration, energy, movement, shareable participation. Activations can be very powerful on trade show floors, product launches, sales kickoff, experiential pop-ups. If your objective includes ROI metrics tied to behavior, you likely need an activation. The most strategic events actually use both of these. And here is where strong event designers go even further. You don't need to choose one and just go in that lane forever. You need to choose based on the purpose. In fact, the most strategic events layer both intentionally. For example, at a healthcare conference, you might have a purpose wall vignette that reinforces identity and pride, and a hands-on solution lab activation that drives product understanding. One's anchoring the emotion and one is driving the action. Together, they create emotional resonance and measurable impact. That is experiential strategy. So before you add anything in your run of show, ask yourself 2 questions. What is the core emotion we are engineering here? And do we need guests to feel something or do something? If you can't answer that, you're just decorating a room. But if you can answer that, you're designing strategically. And that is the shift between planner to strategist. And so if this type of planning resonates with you, download my free guide and plan events that actually bring return.